My topic is inequality and technology and the relation between it. In the recent years, rising income inequality and jobless growth has been the subject of discussion and debate. February 2018 New World Wealth Report claims that India is the second most unequal country in the world, with 54% of its wealth controlled by its millionaires. In Japan, the most equal country in the world, only 22% of the wealth is controlled by its millionaires. India's national average income is about $800, which converts to 1,32,300 rupees a year. However, 80% of the Indians earn less than the average. Only 6% of the Indians earn more than 2,40,000 rupees a year. To get into the top 1% bracket, one needs to make just over $20,000, which is rupees 14,69,600 rupees a year. And this top 1% generates 73% of the wealth. With a widening income inequality, it may not be possible to sustain growth that India is witnessing at present. A country that neglects rising income inequality cannot sustain its long-term economic growth. Things are going to get worse with an escalating cost of living, healthcare, and education. The fact that less than 2% of the Indians who apply for a job each day get only one. The rich do not spend nearly as much of their income as the middle class and the poor. This has a direct implication on consumer expenditure. In the demand side of GDP, consumption expenditure is the most important component, explaining more than 60% of the variation in the aggregate demand and hence growth. Paradigm shift is in the offing, and technology is going to be a spoiled sport unless we make our workforce skillful. India's labor productivity is just 15% of US levels. The case of falling productivity is slowing the GDP of India and the export growth. This year, the yuan has appreciated against the dollar by as much as 6%, and yet Chinese exports are growing at an average of 8%. For India, despite the rupee depreciating more than 10%, the last 6 months exports have not picked up. This is because of the lack of technology that goes into our export. A closer look suggests that in India, gross fixed capital formation is falling. Growth in capital formation has fallen from a high of 17.5% during 2004 to 2008 to a lowly 4.3% during 2014 to 16. A part of the fall is the value of investment that has to do with the lower input cost. Technology has ensured that inputs come at a cheaper price. In today's age of big data analytics and machine learning, deep learning, machines are increasingly taking the job of humans, especially of low skill. With technology changing so fast, no one knows where the job market will go. US regulators have already approved smart pills that send highly accurate diagnostic information from inside a patient's body to a doctor's lab via Bluetooth. Tesla has already announced bringing out an engineless car for less than $35,000. This may change the entire dynamics of the automobile industry and many other industries. One has to acknowledge that a significant societal disruption is on its way, especially to India. Importantly, agriculture is the mainstay of India's livelihood, even though it's not performing well. Indian farmers grow crops using more land, labor, animal inputs, and more than technology. For a long time, output per hectare, a common measure of agricultural productivity, has remained low in India. In potato farming, the productivity of an Indian farmer is less than half that of the US farmer. For wheat, it is less than half that of Germany and Netherlands. In case of rice, it is less than half than Egypt. The problem is aggravated as 83% of the Indian farmers are marginal or small farmers, holding less, which means they hold less than 2 hectares of land, where it is not possible or logical to apply technology. This has prevented many farmers from entering into contract farming with corporates such as ITC or Coca-Cola, as the latter were not sure about the quality of the farmers' produce. Reforming the agriculture sector will not help without embracing technology. With more than 50% of the Indian population still earning livelihood from technology, Lower productivity means a higher income inequality gap. With the agriculture sector not performing well, there is an increased propensity to migrate from rural to urban areas. During the mid 2000s, the construction sector in urban India came as a respite. This was able to absorb agricultural laborers and convert them into construction workers today. Even though the construction sector is suffering, the laborers have nowhere to go. Technology, the key to raising productivity, is here to stay. As much as 90% of increase in per capita income from technological innovations now has to find a strategy to make way into the farmers, into the agricultural economy, and also to other economies which support low and marginal consumers. This requires more research. Thank you.